Last time I made a Marvel Rivals commentary video, it was controversial. So about 3 or 4 months ago, I made a commentary video about Rivals and how support is both the easiest, strongest, and most impactful role, and how most support players are boosted and don't really deserve the ranks they were in because support doesn't take any real mechanical skill. Now this is back when rank was infested with boosted players. This is before performance-based gains and before rank resets. This was really early in Marvel Rivals. The thing about that video is that most people hated it. The comments were full of support players who were furious at me for saying that support was the easiest role with the most boosted players, and that support as a role has the most crybabies who want to be babysat because they aren't good enough to use their already overpowered abilities to survive. Support players were also mad at me for suggesting that supports like Dagger or Rocket, who were carrying people to ranks they didn't deserve, should be nerfed. My overall point of that video was that support was the best and most impactful role in Rivals, and that most support players at the time were boosted and unskillful. The truth is, at the time, a lot of support players were in a rank they didn't belong because they were playing overpowered characters that took no skill. There was a rank system that essentially guaranteed you high ranks as long as you played enough matches. One of my main points of that video was that most support players are crybabies, and that a lot of support players just want to sit in the back line and press one button all game and not be interrupted, and for some reason want the game to be balanced around that. I had an army of support players in my comments mad at me for saying the things that I said. So when Necros, who is basically one of the most popular streamers in the Marvel Rivals community, made almost the exact same comments about support players. Necros comments, which by the way, were taken out of context from a while before, where that support as a role is easy, that support characters are easy, that support players are boosted, and that most support players don't have mechanics and don't have positioning and aren't good at the game, and that most support players don't deserve the rank they're in. When support players heard Necros takes on support and the support community, they got mad. And support players did what they always do. Got mad, cried, whined, blamed everyone else around them and didn't take any responsibility, and threw a temper tantrum. So, of course, we had the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in any community of any video game ever, a support strike. Which, by the way, let me just acknowledge that this so-called support strike wasn't even really a thing. It was just quick play players and low elo support players who chose not to play support for 2 weeks. The whole support strike didn't affect anything above like Diamond. The truth is, only low elo players and quick play players were really doing the support strike. Okay, so basically this so-called support strike was support players not playing support and instead playing tank or DPS. I'm gonna be real with you, like I said, this was only in low elo or quick play. I don't know anyone who plays in high ranks who was really affected by this, and I have not seen anyone in high ranks complain about this support strike. Genuinely, I didn't even know there was a so-called support strike going on until I saw the TikTok videos about it, because if you actually just played the game in high elo at the time, there was no such thing as a support strike. Everything was just normal. So basically this whole support strike was just propaganda from support players who were so mad that someone called them out that they decided to quit the game. Support players for a long time have complained about dive characters. Spidey, Cap, Magic, Iron Fist, Black Panther. If there's a dive character in this game, support players have been complaining about them. By the way, this was before the Jeff rework. So this was when Jeff was the best duelist in the game who had the best survivability in the game. This is back when Jeff was almost unkillable as any DPS character in this game. This was back when Jeff could easily 1v1 tanks or DPS players and win their fights. Well, the devs did what Blizzard devs have done and followed Overwatch's footsteps and catered to the whiny crybaby support players. They decided to buff a bunch of supports from the best, strongest, and most impactful role in the game to the even better, even stronger, and even more impactful role. From the beginning of this game's lifespan, support players have been complaining about dive characters. And each season, the Rivals devs have listened to them and butchered a dive character. It started with Iron Fist, then they went to Magic, then they went to Spider-Man, and now they're on Black Panther. And this is the point where I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize how stupid this is getting. But Black Panther went from just 2 or 3 weeks ago being called the worst character in the game and a throw pick and the tickle monster to now overpowered, broken, and worth a ban. When anyone tried to ban Black Panther, everyone would start asking why they're banning the tickle monster. And now people are banning Black Panther daily. Like, nothing has happened. If anything, Black Panther has only gotten worse because all of his counters have gotten stronger and new counters have been introduced. At the time of recording this video, it is still season 2.5 and season 3 has not dropped yet. We have gotten the gameplay trailer and the patch notes for season 3, and it's not looking too good for us dive players. Spider-Man has been nerfed yet again, and I just don't understand how we're at the point where the devs are listening to support players and making decisions that don't even make any sense. Spider-Man had controversy in season 2, maybe season 1.5, when everyone started banning him and when the devs decided to nerf his uppercut, everything was over. The devs nerfed his uppercut, people stopped banning Spider-Man, they moved on. And like supports do, they moved on to the next so-called overpowered dive character. And now we're at the point where Black Panther is getting banned and people are calling him overpowered. I guess the point of this video is to say I was right. That everything I said months ago in my previous video was correct. The support community proved everything that I said. To this day, If you look at support, which is even stronger now, you have Luna Snow, whose ult is still 12 seconds. Let me just take a second to talk about that. Why is Luna's ult still 12 seconds? I do not understand how this character still has an ult that gives you immortality for an entire team for 12 seconds. Every single update of this game, the devs are buffing some character that is already strong. Hela has been the best DPS in the game, or top 3 DPS in the game since launch, and has never dropped out of that tier because she only gets buffs. Every update she gets buffed. And it's some unnecessary random buff that absolutely no one was asking for. Giving her 2 extra bullets in the last update. No one was asking for. I don't even think the Hela players were asking for some more ammo. Genuinely, this is just a random buff. It's starting to become clear that the Rivals devs are doing exactly what Overwatch devs have been doing for a long time. Picking and choosing favorite. Any Overwatch player can tell you that for a long time in Overwatch devs have had favorites. The best examples being Kiriko or Sojourn. These 2 characters who have consistently been either A or S tier and have only had maybe 1 or 2 seasons out of the meta since the game's launch, and whose nerfs have only been slaps on the wrist, who have gotten buffed while already being meta, whose counters have been nerfed. We are experiencing the exact same thing in Rivals. Just like in Overwatch, support is the strongest, most impactful, and yet easiest role. Just like in Overwatch, support in Rivals can counter DPS easily. Just like in Rivals, support in Overwatch has numerous counters to every dive character in this game. And just like in Overwatch, and support players still continue to whine and complain about dive while refusing to get on the correct support characters or refusing to play their heroes correctly. I don't even understand how you play the game and get to a high rank while having such low knowledge of the game. You will have support players who will sit there and die to a Black Panther all game long. Like I'm not even a support player, and even I know that if I have to go support, use the method where you heal your other support and you keep each other alive. You can survive most ults and most abilities in this game by just healing each other. It's not even a crazy method or some unknown strategy that you have to perfect and practice. You literally just heal your other support when you get dived on. It's not hard. We're still at a point where people run Loki and Luna and we can just have 24 seconds of immortality per fight. We're still at a point where support is the strongest and best and most powerful role in the game, and yet support players still don't know how to use their own role. They're still out here getting packed up by a Black Panther on Sue, on Loki, on Luna, on Rocket, on characters that should not struggle against these already weak characters. As a DPS main, whose mains are almost all dive characters, it's starting to get ridiculous. The favoritism is starting to get blatant and obvious. We're at the point now where support players essentially pick a character each season for the devs to execute, and the devs go ahead and listen to them. Support player logic doesn't even make sense, but it kind of does, really, because if you think about it, support players complain about anyone that dives them, anyone that stops them from being able to just sit in the back and comfortably heal bot, right? Which is exactly why they complain about characters like Black Panther or Spider-Man, because those characters naturally go and target them. But they don't complain about Hela, who can just 2-tap you. They don't complain about Hawkeye, who can still just 1-tap you. The main thing is that they complain about characters, but ignore characters who are better versions of the other character. People really out here complain about the Spider-Man pull attack, which he can only get 1 person with, has numerous counters, and takes a lot of skill to use and a lot of skill to be consistent with. Yet people still don't have a problem with Bucky, who can just grab 3 or 4 people of your whole team, push him into his own backline, and get the one-shot at the same time. We're still complaining about Black Panther's so-called unreactable one-shot combo. Meanwhile, Hela can actually 2-tap you in the blink of an eye. Hawkeye can still 1-tap. Here's the thing that Blizzard understands that NetEase doesn't. Dive is supposed to counter poke, not the other way around. When poke counters dive, that's when you know you have fundamental issues with the game. Black Widow counters Black Panther. Why is it that Black Widow counters Spider-Man? Why are these characters who are supposed to be vulnerable to dive characters becoming counters to dive characters? Why is it that supports are starting to become stronger than DPS in every way? Luna can 2-tap now. Luna can actually 2-tap now. And when Luna's damage buff first dropped, support players were all out here in these comment sections, in these YouTube comments, in these TikTok comments, spreading their copium, talking about when will this ever happen in game? When will a Luna ever have a chance to just 2-tap you at point blank range? When will a Luna ever be able to hit shots on stationary targets? This is a character who has an ability that freezes an enemy for a solid 3 or 4 seconds. This is a character who literally immobilizes an enemy and lets Luna line up a headshot. Not to mention the freeze already deals damage and gives Luna overhealth. Support players, and not all of them, but a lot of them, are truly delusional and will lie to themselves and say anything to make their points make sense, to make it make sense why they're getting all these buffs. Luna should not still have a 12-second ult. We are at the point in this game where Luna Snow still has a 12-second ult. Luna now deals almost the same damage as Hela. This is a DPS who can 2-tap. Luna can 2-tap. She can 2-tap from range. This is not just some isolated moment of one situation where maybe you'll get 2-tapped by Luna. It's something that can happen all the time because she has the damage for it. Luna should not be an anti-dive character. Every support in this game has the tools to nullify dive And yet support players who aren't good enough at the game still want dive nerfed because they don't know how to use their abilities correctly. And these devs who have the most blatant favoritism since Blizzard devs are still going to listen to them and cater them every season. So as you all know, Spider-Man is getting nerfed. Don't listen to what the devs try and tell you in the patch notes. That buff, it does not even put him back to his current damage. That buff is leaving him at still less damage than before. Not everything is getting compensated for his Squirrel Girl anchor being removed. Spider-Man is going to be worse in almost every way, and the areas that he did get compensation buffs, not only are they still not as strong as they were before, but they don't cover the other areas. And also that Human Torch team up, it looks cool, yeah, sure. When's the last time you've had a Johnny Storm on your team? Genuinely, when I saw that team up, I got excited because I was like, oh, this team up looks great. Okay, Spider-Man has something, but then I remembered, I haven't had a Johnny Storm on my team in a month. No one has played Johnny Storm since the nerfs. He's not meta anymore. He's not even good. He's not worth a ban. He's not even worth playing for real. I've talked a lot about supports. I've talked about the devs. I've talked about everything. One thing that you should know about me if you watch any of my previous videos is that I don't just complain. I give solutions. At this point, the only solution there is for the developers to stop having favorites. That's it. I have nothing left. I've got nothing to give you. I have no insight to give you. I have no strategy. I have nothing. I really have nothing. The developers keep listening to the absolute worst players in this community and making terrible changes. The developers said a while ago they were going to balance for fun. Yet, I don't think there's anyone on this planet who enjoys getting 2-tapped by Hela across the map. I don't think there are any Rivals players who enjoy playing against Loki Lunacomp. I don't think there are any rival players who enjoy playing against 12 seconds of immortality, followed by another 12 seconds of immortality. And by the time that 12 seconds of immortality is over, the other support is halfway to their next 12 seconds of immortality. I don't think anyone likes that. I don't think that's fun for anybody. It's not fun for the dive players. I don't even think the poke players are enjoying it. It's going to get to a point where the devs have to choose between the support players and everyone else. We've seen this in Overwatch. We've seen what happens when you listen to support players. We've seen what happens when you make support the easiest and strongest role in the game. We've seen what happens when you butcher dive characters and skillful characters more and more and make easy and unskillful characters stronger and stronger. I can sit here and give a detailed list of every change that should happen, every nerf that every character should get. Truth is, that's not necessary. We all know what needs to happen. Luna shouldn't have a 12-second ult. We're still buffing Namor. Every update, we're still buffing Namor. We're still giving him team ups. We're still doing stuff to cater to these support players who want to either be babysat or be able to just one-tap every dive character. We're going to just keep nerfing dive every season, directly and indirectly. We're going to nerf Spider-Man and in the same season buff his counter. And we're going to give him a team up that'll probably never see the light of day because it relies on a character that you just nerfed into the ground a month ago. The Rivals devs don't know what they're doing. What they're doing isn't working, and what they're doing isn't going to sustain the game for a long time. The Rivals devs said that they're going to make this game as casual as possible. They're going to make changes for fun and not balance. Well, how sustainable will that be down the line? We're in season 2.5, coming to the end of season 2.5, and we still have support players that complain about Black Panther as Rocket. Look up the method where you heal each other back and forth. Some people call it the patty cake method, the pancake method. Just look it up. Just look at it. You heal your other support, you'll stay alive. Black Panther can't kill you through heals. Throw a dagger bubble on the ground. All Spider-Man's combos are invalid. Like, it's too easy. It's really too easy. Another thing I want to talk about is Necro. I talked a little bit about Necros earlier, but I just want to say this one more thing. The Rivals community has got to stop glazing this man. I say this as a Necros fan, as someone who's been a fan of Necros for years since his Overwatch days. I really think that the Rivals community treats Necros as if he's like the president or something. Like, you have half of this community who takes every word that Necros says as law, and everything that Necros does, every opinion that Necros has to try and use it as their own. You have the other half of the community takes every word Necros says to heart and gets mad at every word he says, accuses him of killing the game or ruining the game. Like I said, I am a Necros fan. I've been a Necros fan for a long time. I don't agree with everything he says. There is a difference between glazing and being a fan of someone. Sometimes Necros says stuff and it just sounds absolutely stupid to me, but that's just the nature of being your own person. The Rivals community has got to stop caring about Necros so much, and I don't mean this in the mean way to Necros, but Necros should not be your god. Necros should not dictate your every move and your every opinion. You should not be just parroting what Necros says. You should think about something. You should form your own opinion about it. Necros says ban Black Panther, now Black Panther's getting banned. Necros is saying this. Necros says that, blah, blah, blah. No one should care about Necros this much. You should not let this man influence your entire life, and you should not be blaming him for this game being ruined. The only people who should be blamed for this game's downfall should be these devs, who will absolutely make the dumbest decisions every season without fail. I'm only saying this because I love this game, and I want this community to be better. Again, I say this as a Necros fan. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't think that what he says is law law. Necros isn't some kind of god. He's just a normal guy who's playing the game and has his own opinion. And you should be able to form your own opinions outside of what Necros or any other content creator says. You shouldn't look at a tier list, look at a video every season and decide that what this person says just because they're a content creator is correct. You should be able to form your own opinion and play the game for yourself and see what they're talking about. You need to make your own opinions and be your own people. And I think it's getting ridiculous. You shouldn't be blaming someone for the downfall of a game when the only reason why the game is falling down in the first place is because of these developers. You're the ones listening to this person and getting mad over what they say. You're the ones falling for the rage bait. You're the ones falling for the interaction bait. This is your doing. You can't be mad at them for trying to make a bag. So yeah, I'm basically gonna wrap it up here. This is really a rant video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments as you've done in the past. What's the main takeaway from this video? Luna shouldn't be able to 2-tap and have a 12-second ult. And let me just give a little update. I've been saying for a long time that I'm gonna start streaming and it's still coming. It's coming soon. It's coming very soon. Just stay tuned. And again, the link is in my bio. Go sub to my Twitch. If you made it this far, thanks for watching.